Hi all, we are continuing the discussion on design of shaft and this is the presentation 3. In the last presentation, we were discussing about the design of the shaft under static loading condition, and during that condition, we have considered bending and torque on the shaft, but we did not consider the axial load. Suppose there is an axial load F is acting on the shaft. Then you are able to find out the axial stress by using the equation force divided by the cross-section area. If the shaft is a solid shaft of diameter d, then the axial stress generated due to the axial force F will be equal to 4F divided by pi d square. Suppose it is a hollow shaft, then it will be equal to 4F divided by pi do square into 1 minus k square, where do represents the outer diameter and k represents the ratio of inner diameter to outer diameter. And this is a equation which we can use when the loads are in tensile in nature. Suppose the load is compressive, then there is another phenomenon will come into picture, that is the buckling. The Euler buckling theory you have learned in the solid mechanics course. And remember that in case of the slender member, sometimes the structure is going to fail before the stresses into the structure reaches the yield strength. So in order to include the buckling phenomena also into picture, we have included a factor in the above equation that is equal to alpha, and alpha we can call it as a Coulomb factor. So once you find out the axial stress by using this equation, you can modify the elemental stress, the element stress on the surface, shaft surface, by adding the axial stress to the bending stress. So then how we are able to determine the alpha? Alpha you can find out by using this equation. Alpha is equal to 1 for tensile load. And if it is a compressive load, you can use these two formula to find out the value of alpha. And this equation you can use whenever the value of L by K is less than 115. L represents the length of the shaft and K represents the radius of gyration. And this equation you can use whenever the L by K values are greater than 115. And remember that this alpha is equal to sigma yc, the value of yield strength in compression divided by the buckling, divided by the stresses generated at the time of buckling. So this is the ratio of yield strength in compression divided by the stress at the time of buckling. And the value of n actually find out by using the n condition of the shaft. So n is equal to 1 for hinged end and n is equal to 2.2 for fixed end. And in case of bearing, you can take n is equal to 1.6. Now, until now, we have discussed the shaft is under static loading condition. Suppose shaft is experiencing a dynamic load. Now you consider this situation, even if the bending moment in a cross section is constant, then we can just assume that the top surface of the shaft is experiencing the maximum tensile stress and the bottom surface of the shaft is experiencing the maximum compressive stress due to the bending moment. Now, if the shaft rotates by 180 degree, the material point on the top surface will come to the bottom surface. Then it is experiencing a change of stress from maximum tensile stress to maximum compressive stress. And in the next 180 degree rotation, it experiencing the reverse phenomena. So that means even if the bending moment is constant, whenever the shaft is rotating, the shaft material is experiencing a completely reverse stresses. It changes from maximum tensile stress to maximum compressive stress during the rotation, if the cross section of the shaft is circular in nature. And even if you consider the power transmission, sometimes the power transmission will be with variable torque, and during that condition, shaft is also varying. The torque is also varying with respect to time. So this change in the load you have to consider. So while we are learning about the phenomenon of fatigue, what we have learned to design some component. So if the loading is variable and if it is completely reversible or it is with respect to change, the loading is changed with respect to time, then you have to find out the mean stress and you have to find out the amplitude of stress. Then you have to find out the endurance limit of the material. Then you have to use Soderberg criteria. or Goodman line or Gerber parabola to find out check the safety of the components. So in order to avoid that lengthy calculation, we are able to use here the ASME design code equation for the shaft. So this is the same equation of what we derive for static loading condition. The only difference that we have multiplied by a factor kb here with to the bending moment, and we have multiplied by another factor kt to the twisting moment or torque. And what is the difference actually? So kb actually represent combined shock and fatigue factor applied to bending moment, and kt represent combined shock and fatigue factor applied to torsional moment. And alpha is a column factor in order to include the buckling phenomenon due to the axial load, axial compressive load. And this equation we are able to use to design for dynamic loading condition. And regarding this kb and value of kb and kt, the table will be available in your data book with respect to different loading condition. So for a stationary shaft is not rotating. There is no change in the stress of the material because the shaft is not rotating. So kb and kt value will be equal to 1. That is a static loading condition. And if we apply the load suddenly applied, that like an impact loading condition, then kb you can take it is 1.5 to 2, and kt also taking the same range. Now for a rotating shaft, if the loading is gradually or steady load, then there is no change in the shaft, there is no change in the torque. So for kt you can take 1, but due to the rotation of the shaft, even if the bending moment along a cross section is, even if the bending moment of the cross section is constant, so still kb you have to take 1.5 due to the rotation of the shaft, and due to the rotation of that the material point experiencing a completely reversible stress. And for suddenly applied load with minor shocks only and suddenly applied load heavy shock, you can take all these values. Now, like we discussed in case of fatigue loading condition, you have to consider the endurance limit of the component. So you have to multiply the endurance limit of the test specimen with different factors. So in order to avoid that calculation, we just use a rule here. The allowable normal stress will be equal to, we just equate to 0.5 to 0.62 yield strength of the material. And if we are using the ultimate tensile strength, it should be less than or equal to 0.36 into sigma ultimate tensile strength. And if you want to use a toe allowable shear stress, so you can take 50% of the allowable normal stress, and that is equal to around 0.3 times of yield strength, or it is less than 0.18 of 18 into ultimate tensile strength. And suppose if you are providing keyways for fixing gears onto the shaft or fixing pulleys onto the shaft, then again you have to take a 25% reduction in the allowable stresses, including the stress concentration due to keyway. And these are some of the values for mild steel. Sigma allowable, you can take 120 megapascal, and for toe allowable you can take 60 megapascal. And for commercial steel shafting, toe allowable, this is the value of toe allowable, you can take 55 megapascal for shaft without keyway, and you can take 40 megapascal for shaft with keyway. Now, if you look at the shaft material, generally the commonly used shaft material is mild steel or low carbon steel. Suppose you want a higher strength, then you can use the alloy steel like nickel alloy steel or nickel chromium steel or chromium molybdenum steel or chromium vanadium steel. And suppose you want a corrosion resistance for the shaft, then you can use some copper alloys for shaft. And if you look at the manufacturing process is mainly by hot rolling process, and then the finishing is done by cold rolling or turning or grinding process. And the machine shafts are generally forged. And as a summary of the whatever we have discussed in the last two presentation, so we discussed about the design of the shaft under static loading condition. Then we consider what all changes is going to come whenever you have an axial load also acting on the shaft. Then we have considered the design of the shaft under dynamic loading condition. So even if the bending moment is constant with respect to cross section, it is not changing with respect to time. Even when the shaft is rotating, it is experiencing a fatigue loading condition. So in order to avoid the lengthy calculation of this fatigue loading criteria, fatigue loading calculations, so we just include the ASME design code equation where we have only two constants, kb and kt will come into picture, so that you are able to design the shaft. And in the next presentation, we will consider some of the problems. Thank you.